hang on. Let me change it. Oop, nope. Can't do that. I'll do it afterwards. Because I'll tag. Oh, I can tag you right now.
Ah, awesome.
Yeah, let me tag. I'll be corrected. Yeah, I'm anxious to see what you've got going on. A lot of stuff happening based on what everybody's feeling.
It's intense.
You think
Well,
so?
it continues to be intense.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, so I tagged you. Boom. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that corrects, and I'll correct YouTube afterwards. I don't know what's wrong. I can't even hear. I feel like I'm in some kind of tunnel. It's been,
It really feels like it.
yeah. God, we haven't talked in what, like, when's the last time we talked? Did we talk
I,
after Soulogy Fest?
no, it was in July, so it was before
It was in the middle of all
your
that.
whole experience.
But I think, my experience really, I think was like everybody's, really. Why is that up here? Look at that. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, so I tagged you. You good? You tell me when you want to start.
I'm good. I'm good.
Good evening, Sweden. And Denise Chadwick. Um, yeah. No, I think, yeah.
I think laughter is a good thing at the moment.
It is a good thing. It really
Yeah.
is. It really is. I don't know. Let me turn this thing off. We got the heaters on over here. It's cold in Sedona. There was snow on the mountains.
Oh, goodness.
How did I do that? Yeah, I went out, what was it? 3 days ago. I came out of the studio at 5 o'clock, and there was a double rainbow. And it was all
Uh,
like, like kind of humid, I guess. And then 24 hours later, I walked out of the studio, and it was snowing. Big flakes were coming down. Yeah, it was crazy. But
a few
yeah,
weeks ago here, I was just sitting chatting with a friend, and then when I turned around after we finished the conversation, I saw out of the window, and it was a quadruple rainbow. I've never seen it in my life. It was
wow.
like one rainbow, and then another one started just inside of it, and like four of them. It was
Well,
amazing, and
yeah,
a
that's.
really golden light.
I've never seen four. I've seen three, and that's funny because those they weren't really rainbows. They were just like the bottom piece, like they were right over the mountain right here, and and there was two, and then you could see like the colors of the rainbow in between the two, and then it went from the third one. You could almost see a third one coming out. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, but even like
Yeah,
this
my
summer, there
jaw
was
broke, and I was
there.
just watching.
Yeah, this summer there was pink rainbows here. People had
Wow.
taken pictures of. Yeah, yeah. So I don't even know where to start, but obviously this thing is moving fast and furious. I mean, every time we talk, like when you first came out and you started doing videos, like what 2 years ago,
Yeah.
we always say, "Wow, man, what's going on?" But there's so much emphasis on this uh, eclipse corridor, like from the
Yeah.
25th October to the 8th, and then the 9th, 369. Like, I know some people have been talking about just this whole period, but yeah, and then this whole thing with since about 2019, all the dates that have ones and twos and zeros. So you got the 8th ends the eclipse, the 9th, kind of like a 369.
Yeah.
Um, and I know some people have been talking about that day is going to be huge. And then you have the 10, 11, 12 on the weekend. So I got my seatbelt on.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
I
schedule as
was,
many shows as I can because I don't want to be, you know, not doing anything. And I got all this stuff going on, like emotions. Uh, I can feel like all my emotions, and I can feel like the unraveling of everything.
yeah.
Like I've not been in this situation in 2 or 3 years. just like everything's up in the air. And, you know, it's interesting because there's a relationship between, I think, like neutrality and 0 point. Like, so whatever's being presented to you, how crazy it is or whatever, to stay in that place, and then the abundance is connected to that. I've been on this path, like probably since 2016, and then the Arcturians came in 2018, and then I got more information recently. You're being cleaned out, you're being wiped out. Everything is going to be wiped out, financially, physically, mentally, emotionally, and so on. But just keep your cool and stay calm, keep working, have faith, have confidence, and abundance, but not abundance like monetarily, but abundance in general.
Yeah.
Is connected to that. So I'm just keeping my, trying to keep myself grounded, whatever that means. And you, how are you doing? Everybody knows about me. Let's talk about you.
Well, I can relate to everything you're saying. And it was interesting. A couple of months ago, I was, in the midst of some of my own stuff. And then I was in the forest and I was sitting down, meditating, connecting in. And I was like, can you just give me some information or a sign or just give me whatever? But I just need something. And I said, go walk out of the forest. I was, half grumpy because I hadn't got anything. And I was like, hi, you guys, you could give me something. And the first car on the parking lot had registration number. It said B369. It's
Be
license
the
plate.
be the 369. Yeah.
Yes. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
And
I
it
had.
feels at the moment, like before I was just tuning in and just trying to feel into the energies. And it feels like it's like you throw everything up in the air and you're just waiting for something to structure itself and sort of
Uh,
come into place. Because it's like
yeah.
everything is opening up and like untangling.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then we're just sort of, I think the week coming is going to, show some, I say, some potentials of how something maybe could restructure itself. And
Yeah.
if we resist it, it could be rather intense.
Yes, that's what I'm saying right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I've had like these conversations with the universe over the last 2 weeks quite frequently, at least once a day, which is like, what the hell's going on? We have busted our ass. We're the boots on the ground. We will have a say in what happens. Like, we will be able to chase our own dreams and so on. Like our experience as a human being is supersedes all the other missions, even though they're part of it. But it has to be the most important one. And I just keep hearing, well, you are making those decisions. But I'm like you.
Yes.
I'm like, give me a little information. Give me something. But oh, and I think the other thing is too, like all these through all these previous years and months, we're like, oh, we're going through it. This is the big one. This really feels like the big one to me. Like that's in my conversations and even talking to other people, they feel like it's very imminent. Like there's some kind of colossal shift that's here, like maybe over this period of the next few days. And I can't
Definitely, I
see
think
us.
so. And it's not the last one either. We will be saying that, in a few months again.
Yeah, I know that. I know it's not I know it's not the last one, but it feels to me like, well, because we always say that, right? And then, but it feels to me like for instance, like next year, we'll go through the same motions that we did this year, but they won't be so volatile and so extreme because we'll already have gone through this part of it. I don't know, like the eye of the needle. But I'm like telling them, look, if it's gonna, 11/11, that's another one. I forgot all about that. Thank you, Anna. But like I'm telling them, look, if this is like the last final big deep cleanse and we start to keep going through the same motions and such, but it's just softer and then softer, that's cool. But if not, I want to see what else is out there. Kind of like that.
Yes. Yes. I think I think what we're really learning, which is sometimes so challenging, is to both let go, don't attach to things at the same time as we are coming into our own power and actually taking action to create.
Yeah,
Because it's not just sitting down or leaning back and waiting for something to happen. It's
that's
neither only going into the shadow work and neither only, envisioning and putting things into creation. It's all of it at the same time as we need to let go and we need to open and surrender.
yeah,
And that balance is really challenging. But I think
yeah.
it's, really intense learning curve when it comes to that.
Learning curve. That's some kind of crazy ass sacred geometry. That's a learning curve. I don't know what that looks like. Doesn't look like a traditional human learning curve. Um, but the thing about not waiting, like no matter what it looks like, our thoughts are the most important thing. I mean, the most powerful. Imagination, right? I mean, and it's no matter what it looks like, you don't wait on it to come to you like, oh, I'm going to be good and I'm going to do my shadow work and I'm going to. What's the difference between that and going to church when we were kids and praying for our sins, right? I mean, so it's like, what do you want? That's the whole
Exactly.
thing. What do you want? And
And
that's what
that
I
can be
found.
so challenging to really find what it is we want. But I think that is so important now because if we're only like sitting back being the new form of a good girl or good boy, doing our shadow work and doing our meditation, it's we are here now to really anchor into the physical. The
Right.
new technology is coming, the new medicine is going to come. We are going to have also a huge learning curve when it comes to light and sound, vibrational medicine. The veil now is super thin. It's like walking between the dimensions, and it's going to continue being that way. So we really need now to not only, being in the astral or doing the inner child work, we have to do that at the same time as we're actually starting to create the new structures. Find out what structures do I need in my life, in my routines, what structures can I cooperate with others in how things are functioning,
Mm.
how can I actually bring more light and a new frequency and a new way of thinking into the, start to open that into the structures that are already there instead of only fighting with them, so that we're actually bringing that light into it. If we have another mindset when we meet those structures in society that we don't agree with and that we don't like, that we feel that limitation from, we are here to open those limitations, not fight against them. So if we do that and we actually start owning and taking responsibility, not only for our own shit, but also for our own creations and for what we really want to anchor and bring into this world, it's going to shift really quickly. And the young ones that are coming now, it's insane what they
Hmm.
have, what they know, the wisdom that is coming online for them. And we are here to open their way into creating a lot of the new things that are coming. So whatever way we feel called to do that, that's really what we need to start to take action towards.
Man, you're on it. That was the perfect. That was the perfect description. I mean, that was it. I like when you said not only do we have to own our own shit, but our dreams, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and then what you said about the veils, that's crazy.
it really is.
Like, this is crazy. And stay with me on this because I'm not talking about money and I'm not talking about 3D. I'm talking about what you said. So all this stuff is going on. The last day of the eclipse is the 8th. My rent's due on the 8th. I don't know what's going to happen. I can see myself like just, pay my rent, stay another month. But I can also see myself in the middle of the desert by myself with nobody around and nothing, like I don't know. And I'm okay with either one because I can feel something going on here that's just weird. And one of the things that I'm being guided with is don't attach to the 3D. Don't worry about the neck, the meal, the roof over your head. Don't worry about the gas. Don't worry about the car. Don't worry about anything. Just, if you're going to do something, for me anyway, try to make it a creative thing, because that tends to like take the energy that's like, you're just like, what's going on? And it gives it somewhere to go, and it kind of feeds you back if you share it. But yeah, that's what I feel like. So I'm sitting here going, okay, I don't know what it's going to look like in a week on after the 12th, after the 11/11.
Sorry.
No, it's good. But like, I don't want. I don't want your throat chakras. Yeah, here we go again with your throat chakra. Every time you come on, your throat chakra starts expanding.
Yes.
Which it's already expanded from what you said a minute ago.
Oh my goodness! Every time I see you.
Oh, you're gonna have to channel again. I can feel it.
Oh.
But you already know that, I guess. God, that was amazing. I've been, like editing excerpts from all these episodes. It's so time consuming. But I know I have to do it. And I got the one where you did the light language the first time. That was. I'm going to put a little bit of music behind it, like really light. And wow, it's powerful. Very powerful.
Looking forward to watch that with your music.
Yeah, it's going to be powerful. I did one with a show we did with Amanda Lawrence and a couple other people, and I put some music behind it, and it's like really powerful. Yeah, but that's how it was, because you were not faking. I mean, that was like shaking, and wow, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You said with, the creative energy. I think that's so important because the more we are clearing. Sorry. The more we are clearing, old beliefs, emotions, structures of thinking, patterns we have, there's more of that light that we are coming into the body. And the more the energy is then starting to move freely in our bodies, it is the creative energy, it's the life force energy, it's sexual energy. And so there's a lot of both healing when it comes to everything that has to do with sexuality, any distortions being really clear in the society, and for a lot of people, and that creative energy needs to be used because it's like you say, you can just you can be super tired and you can just lay in bed and you can be almost like shaking or vibrating because it's that energy that needs to move, the body needs to move, and we need to start creating.
Yeah.
That can be anything, it's so different from person to person, but that's I can wake up in the middle of the night and I'm just in the middle of a choreography with dance because that's dance is my passion. So it's like it's a constantly creative energy working, whether we're more or less conscious of it, but we really need to use that energy.
Yeah.
um,
No, I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. And what you said is how I feel and have felt, like since July when I got here, and I had my first studio session with my friends that I ever had in my life, and to see where it's come now. Now this is an energetic example. Like, you got a guy 60 years old comes into town. His friend's like, "Hey, I got a studio. There's a guitarist here. Let's try something." I never did this before, and it was so scary. And then fast forward, whatever, 3 months, 4 months, and now we're doing like, let's turn on some music. Let's not read any words. Let's just make it up as we go for an hour and see what happens. And it's crazy because it is very much when you can be not self-conscious. In those moments that you're not self-conscious, it's like a sacred sexual creative life force energy, and it's not just leaving you, right? Like, let's say the energy of a traditional orgasm, like from 3D or something. It's
Mhm.
actually, it's like a Taurus. It just keeps
Yes.
flowing, right? And it's crazy.
You know, the other night when I was waking up, like the second time I woke up in the middle of a choreography, I opened my eyes and I saw my own Taurus field.
Wow. What color was it?
It was, I saw mostly blue and pink.
Blue and pink. Makes sense. Blue and pink. Big time. So
Yeah, it's
you,
really interesting everything that is happening now, and it's like you can. It's really difficult to put into words the experience, but it's like being in several dimensions at the same time, like being aware of it, but still really grounded in the physical body, much more so than ever before. So it's like having more awareness in the physical body of several layers going on, or information just coming in without really like needing to connect in or something. It just sort of suddenly pops in something.
yeah, yeah, and like with everything changing so rapidly, and like modalities or methods that we use on a personal basis to deal with everything, and how we zero point and all that. Um, it's like things don't work that used to.
Yes.
Like those are even belief system. Like, oh, you believe you only could zero point by doing this, or shadow work by doing this. So the creativity thing, I find, is a great release. Like if I'm alone, it's like deep emotions, writing or trying to or singing by myself or something. But when I'm with someone else, there's something else going on, and
Mm.
I don't know what it is, and you try to forget about it. Like you're a dancer, uh, you when you perform, when you're on, you don't really think about anything. You just like, right. I mean, you're in that space of they call it the zone or in between breaths. So that's what I find. And so the way I kind of bring it down is I go, okay, well, I'm just going to forget everything, and this is healing. It's just healing. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to explain it. And then this whole thing with the pink and blue. Thank you, Randy. Um, yeah, that's like in this realm right now. It's the pink and the blue, and obviously masculine, feminine, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's I don't know. Are we coming into this whole thing with 1111, this period with the eighth and so on, into collective divine union?
Every time you're saying 11/11, they show me 21st of November. So there must be something with that date or some sort of a portal, those 10 days.
Twenty
Because every time
first of
of
November.
November,
Wow.
they show me that because I think it's the third time you said 11/11 now since we started talking. And every time I see 21st. So there must be some sort of connection there. Um, I think, let me see what I say. Um,
Do you want to just channel?
I can, I can. Um,
Might be
I think
easier.
with the divine union you said, I think it's, of course, first within.
Right.
There has been, a lot with the feminine coming online and a lot of, purging on the masculine. And I think we're really, we have been in a period now where we are, because we're, going to anchor more into the physical, and we have to use our own masculine energy. And there's so many people, whether you're incarnated as a female or a man, that are in some sort of conflict or war with the masculine energy because of the patriarchy, or everything that has been going down. And I think then needing to, with the restructuring of everything from routines in our lives to the structures in society and how we create and everything, we need to have a good flow in that masculine energy. So wherever we have any sort of conflict with our own masculine, that's going to be really highlighted in the time coming. So I think it's first and foremost within, in order to get that third energy out in the world, because that's our creations. When the sort of unity collectively is coming, I'm not sure of. But I think we're, every day we're stepping closer and closer to it, of course. But I do feel there will be more conflicts in the external, before we can say that we are in a unity consciousness with all humans, because we need to look at conflicts in a different way. We have to have a more integrated ego on a collective level, and first get more of our creations into the world, so we actually, we are unique expressions, but we are not special or better than or in a hierarchy. And on a collective level, we have, I think, more than a few days of evolution.
And the masculine's purging. But no, that's guy. You're on. Like you're on. There's a couple things real quick. I just want to go back, but like 2 years ago, you know, you're you're different. We're all different, right? 2 years ago when I met you, 2.5 years ago, you were just coming out, right? Like you were just putting up videos, and like 3 people were watching it, like, and then we
I know it's so
connected.
nervous.
But I think this is what I'm bringing up. And then we started connecting, doing shows now and then, and you were sharing in Soulogy group, and things started to grow. But the thing is, and everything doesn't happen on the linear timeline for everyone at the same time, right? But you bring up, I mean, like you really exude like an understanding, which I think can only really come from your own internal relationship with masculine and feminine. But 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, when you were coming out, because you were much different then, you were much more feminine, much more reserved, even though you're still reserved, but you know what I mean, shy or, whatever. Was that your masculine that put you out there? Or was that just you, or how would you describe that?
I think that was, well, that it's several things. I think it's both, that my, well, I would say I feel much more safe in my own feminine energy now than I did then. And that is because of the work I've done with my own masculine. So when my own masculine energy is more grounded and more stable, and I feel safer in myself,
Right,
I feel that I'm much more safe in the expression of the feminine,
right,
as well. So it's, I think both energies have developed a lot in the way I hold it. At the same time, the way my whole journey was, I felt like I was thrown into all of this because I saw things from I was a child. The first times I channeled, I didn't even know what it was. I just popped into a trance state without knowing
as a
what
child.
it was. No, that was after I turned 13, but I could see things
Mm,
clearly, like,
mm-hmm.
what was in this dimension and another dimension. I saw it all physically as a child. And I could feel others' emotions and all of that. And I tried to run as far away from it as I could. So I always felt like everything was something that happened to me. I didn't feel any control of it. I didn't feel that I chose it. So when the channeling started, and I started having to go in that direction, and in order to control and have, feel safe with it, and be able to control when I'm going into a trance and not, because it happened, in the supermarket. I could just feel like, oh, now it's coming, and I wasn't able to stop it. So, I had to come into the body and get control of it. And then, of course, it was interesting, but I still had a lot of resistance for many years because I didn't want to be the weird one. And I was really weird, in those.
You're still weird.
I'm still weird, but I'm loving it now.
Yeah, right. Weird
Yeah,
is a
and so I
superpower.
think it was like that fear still applying. Like when I started the YouTube, I was really aware that I didn't want my full name on it because I didn't want people to be able to Google me and find out that I was doing this stuff. So it was still a lot that I was working out in myself because I knew I had to do it. It was really, really clear. And a lot started moving for me when I got that energy actually out where it's supposed to be. Because otherwise it's just stuck, it gets stuck in the body. So it was important for my own healing journey as well as for the people that are supposed to receive those frequencies that I, receive and give out. So I think it was both because of my own fear and resistance, as well as the way I hold my own feminine and my own masculine energy.
Yeah. Well, you know, regardless of who it is, if you're bringing one into alignment, you're actually bringing the other one into alignment as well. You can't have 100% feminine and 70% masculine. You can't. You can have 70-30 because you're really going to 50-50, right? I mean, that's all that's in the container in this realm as we dissected the one, which is the masculine and the feminine. So,
And of course, like the way as you know, I have been through a healing journey that has been pretty intense. And before that started, some of what drew me into that was the way I used my masculine energy, because I would use my masculine energy in a really like forceful way with myself, like a lot of self-criticism, pushing
yeah,
myself to do a
yeah,
lot of things, not being fully in contact with what I truly wanted because I was just doing the things I should do, things, all of those things that so many of us have experienced. But I use that to an extreme on myself. So now that I'm creating new structures in my life and, my health is in place and I'm doing more work, it's it's like layers and layers where I see that the way or that, my feminine comes into fear or a bit of resistance because it's afraid of the way I use my masculine energy. In when I meet those things again, I'm afraid there's a part of me that is afraid that I will go into those old patterns. Though I know that I won't because I don't have that distortion in my own masculine anymore. But there's constantly a realignment of the feminine and then the masculine, and then there's something in the external or something, now that I need to do, with taxes or with, those kind of structures, that are I feel like I'm like in this sort of resistance, and when I go into it, it's only those old patterns.
right,
Okay,
right.
that's not where I am, and it dissolves really quickly. So now I'm learning to use my divine masculine energy in a way of actually holding that energy and holding the grounding and the safety, and also giving it tasks to create structure in my life that I need in order to be in that feminine energy and be able to create and be able to be in that intuitive state,
I
and
got you.
actually also bring it into the physical and
Yep,
create stuff.
I got you. I just because I'm a translator of all these universe. No, but it makes sense. It really makes sense because you're really telling the story from inside yourself. Number one, number two, the masculine and the feminine are you're like the way you're explaining everything. They are each a part of you, but they are together you, and it's almost like you're taking us through a conversation, or that's probably not the right word. But to me, it sounds like what's coming out is the feminine. The masculine part of you has created the environment or the way or the path or the structure for you to do that and feel supported. But what I love about what you said, too, is that as he was doing this, as he was creating this space and this path and this structure, she, the other half of you, was resisting. You know what I mean? Like, hey,
Yes.
wait a minute, don't do that, because when you did that before, all hell broke loose. But it's a new masculine.
Exactly.
And so the way you explain that internally is all that matters.
Yeah.
Right? We look for so much of this, all of us, not me and you, but like, well, everything. We look for external validation, gratification, blame, love, whatever, but you're actually explaining it from the inside out. I saw this this post, and I don't know if you know her, Kirstie Lee. We're very connected, like you and I are, right?
Mm.
And so she's saying the same thing that you are, and it's fascinating. So I'm going to pull this up real quick, and I'm going to read it. All right. So she's like, and again, I think she speaks from like that internal, like yours to me feels more internal, but she's not speaking as men and women. She's speaking as energy that we're all contending with, and the fact that you're a woman and explained it the way you did is pretty fascinating. So it says, I need to allow him to die. It is his path, and it has been distorted via centuries of collective false masculine programming. He inherited those programs on his own, and he knows it's time for them to die, right? He wants to choose the highest path for him, because he knows that when he chooses that path, it will be for humanity. Okay, so I know in my heart, which is what you're saying, the feminine, my vision. I know in my heart my vision, and he does too. And he loves this vision. But he needs to choose the path that releases him from the burden of distortion in order for his choice to be pure, so he can allow himself to receive his true vision. It is scary because it is unknown. Now, this is where it gets good. And this is what I think you capture. And the fact that you're a woman saying this and you're not externalizing it is, I think, quite impressive. And I think it's also indicative of what kind of sacred wisdom is going to be coming out of the mouths of the women like you that are coming up now. But as each masculine stands in his truth and follows his path, he feels the uncertainty as the shackles magically untether. And each is left with a blank space within which to co-create. It is a new way because there's no thing telling him what to do, only self. So the choice to follow his path is not about me, the feminine, and my insecure feminine, or anyone else except him. The purity of the intentions of which he makes his choice will ripple through the generations to come. So it's time to release him of the binds of shame and guilt that exist between us, because the choice of the masculine was taken personally by the feminine.
Yes.
My dream is worthy, his dream is worthy, our dreams are worthy. I courageously allow him to die so he can be reborn anew. And so I, not us, I may live in deeper purity of truth in sacred union, in harmony and in peace. So it's like what you're saying and what she's saying. She is the dreamer, right? And he knows her dream. In fact, he loves her dream. This is the inside of us, like the way you explained it. And he knows how to make it happen. And what you described, like with your own journey from like 2.5 years ago, is that it was the masculine, it was everything. But the masculine was pushing up. And so then that created a reaction from your feminine that went, whoa, no, because you know what happened before. But I guess in your own way, what you're representing and what you explained is that what she said. You said,
Yes.
go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead. Because at some level, you knew that the old one had died, but the reality is the choice of the old one dying was with you.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
when we meet, those physical, the physical reality that we have to, you know, deal with structures, or we have to, do certain things in order to get things into the physical.
Mm.
We need to choose again and again to actually believe in it, to trust that, okay, I've actually done this work. I've actually come into this. Now this is the way I'm going to meet this. And I think we can look at it like with that conflict, with those energies within me. If we take like the big external conflicts in the world, and we could actually, like, when we learn to work on those conflicts inside of us in that way, imagine what will happen in this world when we on a collective level can actually handle the conflicts, because the conflicts will be there. We are, we have different perspectives. Being in unity consciousness is not being on the same program, thinking the same thing, wanting the same thing. It is actually bringing our unique frequency into this world. It's bringing our creation into this world, and we're working together, as an organism,
Yeah.
but with different purposes. So when a conflict comes up, we can actually meet it from a whole different point of view
Yeah.
than the fight, than the belittling, uh, you know, all that
Yeah.
way that we have been for so many years.
You're on it. You're on it. I've never seen you like this. And I was like, how am I going to do this show? But this whole thing about, like what you're saying, and the words don't even always apply. They're not staying the same. The definitions aren't staying the same. So it's a little bit difficult to translate it all. But the point is that we call it conflict, friction, whatever you want to call it. And if you think about a torus field, that's what it does. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's doing this. It's never disconnected. Say one side's pink and one's blue, right? And they just keep coming like this. And actually,
Yes.
they're always like this because it's perpetual. There's always this
Yes.
part on the outside. There's a part on the, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
so from the
And
human
that's the
perspective,
boundaries as well, right? The energy coming in and the energy going out. It's
yes,
like a yes.
equally. So you're sharing and you're not giving up, depleting yourself. So okay, just to close it out, back to you. So there's this whatever you call it, right? And I think what's happening now, and what you're explaining, and other people are starting to explain, is anything that's a program, we don't have to weed through all the mud and grit and, you know what I mean? We know it's a program. Everybody was subjected to it. So the whole taking it personal thing is going out the window. It's leaving us. So what happens is we were in a polarity that was very distorted. Call it duality. So this is where our patterns came from. But now, a lot of people think, like you said, that it's going to be we're all on the same wavelength, doing the same thing. No, we're going to be in a true organic polarity. So you and I, for example, step into a space. You represent one end, I represent the other polarity, and we actually have an experience that contains all of that. And there's no judgment. There's no separation. It's just the beauty of life. It's the contrast of, I guess you could say, merging or mixing or, I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, how would you make a soup if everybody has the same flavor?
Exactly. Or a blank canvas and you have only one color and one nuance to paint it with. It would be rather boring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's how we ended up here. Yeah, you're on. You're really. I haven't been able to do anything. Like, you know what I mean. The last few weeks or whatever, 2 months. I don't even know. But so I haven't really seen. Now I have caught the titles of some of your videos, but I haven't really been watching anything. Just until very recently, when I'm trying to gather material. Some of it's yours. I haven't got to you yet, though. But like, what are you picking up on? What have you recently picked up on? Or more importantly, what the hell's going on right now? And is there any more information you can give us about this period between 11/11 and the 21st?
Yeah, that came in just now as we were talking, so I'll have to tune in on that. What I was talking about in my last video was the Akashic records, and that there's a lot of contracts that are ending and or renegotiated. Also, that there are a lot of people exiting now in a period until the new year. And there are, nuances and a lot of ways this can happen. It can be because they have, completed their mission and their purpose here, and they're supposed to leave now. And there can also be a lot of people choosing to exit now
Right,
because
right.
it's a lot that is clearing. There's a lot of, it can be very challenging on a lot of people. And there can be, a lot of things in between. There's also a lot about the old identity. Like, we have to really remember that we have shifted and changed. We're not the same person as we were a week ago, not the same person we were 2 months ago, let alone not the same person we were 10 years ago. But we always have these beliefs of the way, like, I am this way, I always do this thing, this is my pattern, this is, we have this attachment to an identity that is maybe not our identity anymore. So when we are meeting, a trigger in the external, or just something in ourselves, or a pattern that we are, sick and tired of, really looking at, because when all these energies are coming in, it can hit on those old beliefs as they are supposed to move out. So it's really important to remember that even though something is coming up and it's being really intense, it's not necessarily that you are, back there,
Yeah,
because, I worked on this several times and now
yeah,
it's here again. So probably I haven't cleared it. No, it's not that. It's just residues.
right.
And now we are ready to get it out. And when we are bringing things into the physical and starting to anchor more and create more into the physical, we are hitting on a lot of old beliefs,
Yeah,
because we need to let those just dissolve and evaporate in order to bring it into the physical.
yeah,
And also taking radical self-responsibility is important. And some of the themes that has been collectively, as I've been talking about, is victim consciousness, revisiting the themes of boundaries, codependency, control, both the way we work with controlling ourselves and the way we control others, or are a match to being controlled or manipulated, and disempowerment. And as all of this is clearing more and more, we gain more clarity and more energy moving in the direction of forward movement. So we can have really rapid forward movement now in our lives if we
yeah,
really let go and let those things release from the bodies. And so
yeah.
there's also a lot of timelines clearing. I had this experience where I just closed my eyes, connected in, and it was like I was going through universe after universe. Like, it was just like so far. It was so fast and so far, and I just kept hearing timelines clearing, timelines clearing, timelines clearing.
Right,
And that's
right,
where it's so important then, that when this is happening, we have to make the choice. When we come into an old pattern,
right,
have the awareness that this has actually shifted. I
right,
don't
right,
need to make the same choice, because then I will actually try to anchor an old energy I was in.
right. Which won't even work now. But you know what? This is so good that you brought this up, what you've been talking about the last 4 or 5 minutes. Because there are things coming up, but they're not sticking, they're residue. You're right. They're a residual effect, and they tend, what I've seen and what I've observed with others, and they're telling and talking to me, is these things are really, really loud. Almost like, kind of like watching Joe Biden. And you're watching it going, this guy's the president of the United States, and, God bless him, all the things that he does. But it's so distorted, it's funny, but it's not. Because it's such a clear message, right? And I think that's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's happening. God, you've been full of great information.
Thank you.
So I think this started yesterday. I started thinking about this. Something's changing. Everything's changing. So I think Soul Speaks 5D, what we're going to do is we're going to go to 90-minute episodes, 90 minutes, because it seems like for some reason, I don't know if it's the 369 or what's happening, because we've done some 30-minute shows and it was 60 for a long time. But yeah, we need to talk more. The information that seems to be really anchoring in these past 2 or 3 weeks on this show has been the immediate information like you're talking about right now, right? From a very human standpoint. So hang on a second, because we have another show. Stephen Popiotek's going to come on in 8 minutes, and he's just like you. He's just a different language, and he's masculine, which I find very interesting, the two of you, like bookends today. But why don't you hang on a second? I'll sign off, and let's schedule another show. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and we can continue this conversation, all right? Because I know this was very short notice, and I appreciate you coming on so fast. So, thanks for coming in.
I always love connecting in with you. It's
Well,
it's amazing. You hold a really, really beautiful energy, Todd.
Well, I'm falling apart over here. Okay, so hang on.
That's what we're doing.
We're gonna come back in about 10 minutes, but I'm gonna talk to Kristen real quick. Okay.